It's FA Cup fourth round picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code PLGP to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Edge Boost. Earn up to $750 per month on your sports gambling transactions. Go to edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. And we're brought to you by Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast, the most humble show on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is, I've got no idea.
It's the day after Newcastle beat Arsenal.
Shut up, Barry. Thursday, the 6th of February. We are here to, as Barry mentioned, touch upon the EFL Cup semi-finals that finished a little while ago. Before we get stuck into more cup action over the weekend, it is the FA Cup fourth round. Barry, how you doing? What's happening?
I'm all right. I'm on a little bit of a downer after last night. Obviously, all the excitement and drama of last night. And then you get to today, and you got a handicap, possibly the least exciting weekend of football of the season. FA Cup fourth round. What a shit way to follow up a cracking week for us. Not a cracking week of picks, I should add. But obviously, as Newcastle fans, a cracking week of football. But yeah, fucking FA Cup. Here we are. What a way to come back down to earth.
Well, yeah, we'll get to the FA Cup in a little while because we didn't do very well in the last round of the Cup. No one ever listens to these shows, by the way. We always look at the how many people listen to the Premier League shows. We always look at our stats, you know. No one listens to this shit, the FA Cup. So, and then I was a bit like you today, Baz. I looked at the card and I was like, I don't know what to do with any of this. So we've had a go. And if we pick a few winners, we'll love it again and claim that we're experts, but one of those things. I mean, there's only one place to start, though, Barry, really. I think the listeners will allow us a little 5 minutes happiness. We sit here and go through all the shite when we have to. Newcastle, absolutely brilliant against Arsenal last night. Both legs, in fact, not just last night, utterly dominant in both legs. 2-0 wins. And seemed to me last night, Barry, I feel like we unlocked a new level of like competitiveness for Newcastle because we've been decent for a couple of years. We've been able to compete with the good teams. We've been able to beat most teams, whether it's in a one-off game. We give most teams a game without ever being one of the top sides. We've always been in like the tier 2 teams like Aston Villa, Tottenham, apart from this year. Chelsea, teams that can go and cause a problem without being an elite team. For the first time last night, Baz, not getting ahead of himself, because it was over 2 legs. It was 2-0 wins. And that coaching performance from Eddie Howe, I just thought for the first time we looked like we might just be legit for a little while. I thought they were absolutely outstanding. And you've got to remember the first leg, we won that without Fabian Schär and Bruno. And then last night, the team news came out, 5 at the back. Everyone thought, oh, shit, what are we doing here? Are we just going to sit in and defend like bastards? No, absolutely not. Eddie Howe had it planned to an absolute T. Thoroughly outcoached Mikel Arteta again, like he always does. I thought they were absolutely outstanding, Ban. I loved it. I had allowed myself about 90 seconds after the final whistle to enjoy it, before I instantly went in a strop about losing the final, which is where I am now. But yeah, there's nothing much to say. It was brilliant, Baz. Really a great atmosphere. Enjoyed it. Great goals. Isak was brilliant. They were all great. I love the shithousing. I love the atmosphere. I love the winning. I loved Arteta and Havertz. Everything about it was perfect. It was a perfect storm. So, yeah, enjoyed it, Baz. What was your reading?
Yeah, I mean, brilliant. And what I put down on Twitter last night was quite refreshing. There was no complaints from Arsenal fans, and actually, it was quite refreshing just to see quite a lot of the ones who have got on my tits for weeks on social media just coming out and saying we got beat fair and square. It was quite refreshing to see that, and that's because we didn't give them anything else they could say. You talked a lot about Arsenal before the Man City game and how they just will squeeze teams. Newcastle well and truly squeezed them last night. You mentioned the concern when people saw the lineup, and you straight away the negativity. Oh, what's he doing? He's sitting back. He's doing this. He's doing that. How absolutely nailed it. There was some eyebrows raised about Trippier because he hasn't really hit any great levels when he's been coming off the bench. I question why he was starting last night. I thought in the first half he was one of the standout players defensively. Thought Trippier was brilliant last night. Gordon was outstanding all over the pitch. Isak ran them ragged. Absolutely had them, didn't know what they were doing. I really enjoyed, I mean, he's talked about how good, and I really enjoyed the analysis after the game because it brought it more into focus how every one of them just stuck to their own individual task, like rigidly, and seeing Shaw and Byrne pressing on the edge of Arsenal's box. Something we just don't see very often. That's what I like is we won a different way, completely different to what we've seen all season long. So yeah, absolutely buzzing with it. I mean, nothing really I want to talk about with Arsenal because I'm twisted mode about Arsenal most weeks. The only thing I would say is how did Rice walk away without a yellow card last night?
Yeah.
Back Declan Rice,
I mean,
you were absolutely robbed. He was rattled from 10 minutes in. He wasn't enjoying it. He didn't like having Shaw up his arse all game. Havertz was rattled. Havertz's body language was terrible from about half an hour in. He didn't want it. He wasn't interested anymore. But yeah, I would have been sick if I'd backed Rice for a yellow card and didn't pick up. I would have been furious.
Yeah, Havertz is deeply unpleasant. The only thing I would say about Arsenal, and we've said this over the last 2 or 3 months, Baz, I just don't think they're top class. They're all right. They're a good team. They're second in the league. They're probably the second best team in the country. They're not as good as Liverpool, but they're probably better than everybody else. But they're just not top class, and they repeatedly show it time and time again. Whether it's the way they play, the reliance on set pieces, their inability to turn up in these bigger situations, and they win the odd game. We said, even though they humped Man City at the weekend, we did point out that middle part of the game where they were second best. It was a bit of a false final. 5-1 was a bit of a false final. And Arteta repeatedly, big in the key word, gets outcoached by Eddie Howe. So I just don't think that's top class. Obviously, there's a couple of reasons why. You put Saka back in there, yeah. You put a top striker back in there. And the Virgin on the top class, but they're just not that good. They're eminently beatable, they're vulnerable. So, yeah. Brilliant.
That set piece coach can't have earned his money last night because they must have had about 15 corners, and most of them just went straight out at the far post, out the other end. The only thing I would say, Malcolm, is I was nervous beforehand. The 2-0 lead didn't do anything for settling my nerves. Going 3-0 ahead did absolutely nothing for settling my nerves. I was still shitting myself at half time, just thinking they'll get back into this. I think the only time I started to relax was probably 10 minutes from the end. I think it was the point where they brought Sterling on. That was akin to waving the white flag, wasn't it? At that point, you're surrendering, aren't you? Because Sterling's dog shit. But yeah, that's enough for Newcastle, isn't it, for now?
Yeah, see, everything spoke for itself, Baz, and we've now got 5 weeks or so to be thoroughly miserable before we go and get beat 3-0 off Liverpool in the final. So that's something to look forward to.
It's one of them. Obviously, we wanted Spurs to win tonight. Liverpool win, and in a way, as you say, you're almost resigned to the fact because we never beat Liverpool. So in a way, the pressure's off a little bit because I would hate to have gone to Wembley, played Spurs, and got beat. if we go to Wembley and lose to Liverpool, you'll come away saying, well, expected that. And it's not great, don't get me wrong. But I think our hopes would have been far higher if it was Spurs. And then there's even more room to be let down, isn't there? But
the loser
will be. What will be, will be. How might have a plan?
What a pair of absolute losers. It was in the chat. Andy Williams was first in. Andy Coitsty's trying to needle me, not having it Coitsty. Joe Dollar. Joe, welcome along. Cree. Yeah, Callum, George is happy enough. And Connor's just joined us as well. Connor, welcome along. Then Liverpool v Tottenham tonight. I just thought it was such a timid display from Tottenham. It was meek. It was weak. It just, especially, now I'm not saying they would have won or the result would have been different. They could easily have lost the game. But having the night before seen a bit of a blueprint on how to get about it, with a little bit of vim and vigour and have a pulse like a cannon. And they just didn't. It was just a proper wet, drippy performance. They weren't in the game. It was horrible. So I'm not saying had they come out and done things a bit differently, the result might have been the same. But fucking hell, there's it just looked horrible. It wasn't a very edifying spectacle to go and lose like that. Do you know what I mean? You live on your knees or you die on your feet, that kind of thing. And they chose to live on their knees tonight, and it was bollocks. I thought they were rubbish.
They might have done a bit better if they'd put a proper goalkeeper in goal instead of someone who looks like they'd won a competition to play. That Kinski is absolutely awful, by the way.
Well, you know what I'm going to say, Barry? Do you want to say it on my behalf?
Yeah, no, you said it after the first leg, and I said social media, Spurs fans were going totally over the top with his performance in his debut. And he's gone downhill rapidly. Absolutely awful tonight, he was. Yeah,
two of them. The first one went straight through him, and he just waved the third one past. I wasn't sure what was going on there. But yeah,
right, great explodence. Fourth was probably the worst, the corner. He isn't going for it, then he is going for it, and then he's just left absolutely nowhere near as he watches it just go into an empty net.
Great exponents of the law of diminishing returns on super sub goalies. And that's exactly what Kimski's been. I had a little. Have you looked at the odds for the final yet, Baz? Since the final whistle? No. Do you want to go on then? We like this game. Price it up for us, Baz. Liverpool draw Newcastle. Come on, what you got?
Liverpool 1-2. Draw 9-4. Newcastle 7-4.
Liverpool are 3-4 minus 133. The draw is 11-4 plus 275. Newcastle 7-2 plus 350. So yeah, big price Newcastle, probably about right. But we've got 5 weeks to get stuck into that. We'll crack on with a little bit more chat. Let me tell you first about the free squares pool. They're trying to fill up a second pool here. The first one's gone, but if they get 200 runners, they're going to fill up a second $1,000 squares pool. So sportsgamblingpodcast.com/squares will sign you up there. So due to popular demand, there will be another $1,000 free squares pool. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/squares. The Super Bowl, obviously on Sunday night. It's not the itty bitty teeny tiny bowl. Super Bowl 59, I remembered. On DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. Scoring touchdowns is key to hoisting the Vince Lombardi Trophy, and you've got a shot to score big by betting on them at DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Yep, do what that bloke says. And Rhythm, SGP and partner Rhythm, the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models, or have Rhythm build a model for you. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Couple of updates, Baz, here. Kev Matthews has been in touch. Senor Ding Dong, the Shmoo, Jibber the Snibber, Old Face, to give him some of his nicknames. It's a Boyzone update, Baz. He went to see Boyzone in 1999 in an attempt to impress some girls. Some girls had a spare ticket. So he went to see Boyzone in 1999. But it was the night of the Manchester United Bayern Munich Champions League final, the 2 late goals. So he missed one of the seminal nights in English football. So he could try and get his knob wet with a couple of birds at a Boyzone concert. So he agrees that Boyzone can fuck off. He also added, he's a Forest fan, he wants you to pick against Forest every week because he says it's like getting a 1-0 head start. He said every time you pick against them, he feels like Forest have gone 1-0 up. So there you go. If you can keep picking Forest. And a biscuit update. I bemoaned the quality of biscuits around here in the last couple of weeks. So I began formal proceedings, Barry, against the IT department. And I'm pleased to report it's been addressed. So if you went out there now and check the biscuit tin, malted milks, hobnobs, chocolate digestives and bourbons, all in there. A solid back four. It's like Eddie Howe, didn't he? Biscuit shopping, do you know what I mean? He's sorted that out. So the biscuit's been addressed, Barry, so I'm happy with that. Anything from you this week?
No. I'm sure there is, but I can't think of anything. I feel like I'm living a very boring life at the moment. Although it's picking up soon. I'm gigging in the next few weeks and fine dining coming up. I've got lots coming up in the coming weeks, but at the moment, I'm still very much on a quiet January, even though we're into February.
Yeah, we're well into February, Barry. I've got the IT department's 40th birthday next weekend, Barry. I remember you had this, didn't you, last year? And you absolutely rolled the red carpet out, didn't you? You went mental.
Valentine's Day as well. Is that a double bubble? You got to go full
double bubble. It's also Kevin Keegan's birthday next Friday, so you've got to factor that in as well. Right, FA Cup, Baz. A load of bollocks, this. I didn't enjoy any of this. We've got games. Let's have a look. England FA Cup. Because they mangled it. We've got a Friday night game, which is Man United v Leicester. There's a load of stuff on Saturday, including a tea time game, which is Newcastle. Chelsea, Brighton is a Saturday night game. Load of stuff on Sunday, game on Monday, game on Tuesday. So they've dragged it out over 5 days, which makes it a bit shit. As always, Barry, we haven't discussed with each other what we've picked here. So we might have the same games, we might not. We didn't do very well in the last round at all. So I was just kind of how I started here, Baz, was just instinctively looking for prices that I thought were value. And then went from there. So I'm going to start with, Barry, a Saturday lunchtime game. The game is early on Saturday because both sets of fans would quite happily kick shit out of each other for the entire weekend if they were allowed. It is Leeds United against Milwall. It's a 12:15 kickoff on Saturday, so 7:15 Eastern time. Leeds 11-25, minus 227. The draw is 100-30 plus 333, and Millwall are 13-2 plus 650. And I was instantly, but we did this last week. West Ham were up at 13-2 at Chelsea. And immediately we went straight to the handicap. I thought that's too big. And that was my immediate reaction here. It was the second game on the list, and I just thought Millwall were too big here. They're in decent form for one thing. They've won 3 in a row. They've got a little new manager bounce, Alex Neil, who's a seasoned manager at that level. He knows what he's doing at that level. He's got them playing quite well. Leeds have got way bigger fish to fry here. than an FA Cup game. They're top of the Championship. They need to get back. That's where their focus is. They will make changes. In the last round, Leeds United beat Harrogate Town 1-0. So they just got there. But Milwall are a different level here. Milwall have only got 4 away defeats all season, Barry. And none of them have they been beaten by more than a goal. 1 goal has been their biggest defeat. So Millwall on the Asian handicap had to be the play here. You can get Millwall +1, +1.5. So I don't know if you understand this, Barry. But if they lose by 1, half your stake back as a winner. What you're laughing at, and half of it is returned if it finishes at +1. So Millwall +1, +1.5. Like I say, Leeds will make changes, scrape past Harrogate, and this would have covered in every single away game for Millwall this season. 15 games, I think. Every single one of them, you'd have got a return here. So yeah, I like Millwall in this spot, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, that sounded very much like my handicap of Spurs this week, where I told you Spurs never lose by more than a single goal.
Well, just going back briefly, because we've talked about the games, we never mentioned our picks, which I think were all entirely shit. Yeah. I would make that Arsenal pick again to score 2 goals. Rubbish. I've put Tottenham in tonight. Rubbish. Although that's the system play where I'm still in profit because they won it 7-2 at the weekend. So yeah, the picks were. There's a reason we haven't talked about them. It's because they were absolute bollocks. But yeah, crack on, Baz.
Yeah, I took the over 2.5. Oh, we should say that slow roller did roll though.
Did it roll again?
Next installment, yeah, over 1.5 in the Newcastle game, over 2.5 tonight.
Nice.
So we have got £23.43, which I will tell you the next step of the roller later on.
Are you rolling in the FA Cup tonight?
Oh, I'm rolling, I'm really rolling.
Keep rolling on. Go on then.
Anyway, first up for me is, and you can do the odds for me if you don't mind, I've got the Everton v Bournemouth game, which is 3:00 on Saturday.
Everton 19-10 +190, 23-10 +230 is the draw. Bournemouth 7-5 +140 favourites.
Yeah, so obviously all Premier League tie, 3 wins in a row for Everton. More astonishingly, 8 goals scored in 3 games for Everton. They probably doubled that tally in the last 3 games. Interested to see if that can continue. But at the moment, certainly David Moyes is making Dyche look like a bit of a tit, isn't he? Because Dyche couldn't get them scoring anything. Bournemouth obviously lost last week against Liverpool. That ended an impressive 12-game unbeaten run. But they might well see this as an opportunity to get back to winning ways. My first thought here was Bournemouth. They've beaten Everton twice already this season. But I did think the recent turnaround in form for Everton might have just saw them a little bit closer in the betting, particularly with Everton at home. And I thought it might be a slightly better price on Bournemouth. Bournemouth are favourites at around 7-5. And I just thought it was a little bit shorter than I wanted, with not really knowing what we're going to see from Everton from one week to the next. Can they keep it up or not? So I've ended up going for goals, and I've tried goals with Everton several times, usually going towards the unders and timing it terribly on the weeks where they go and win 4-0 or whatever, 3-2s against Spurs and the likes. I'm going the opposite way. I'm pivoting. So I'm going for overs here. Everton have worked out how to score again. Bournemouth games have been full of goals anyway. In their recent good run before the Liverpool 2-0, they'd scored 16 in their 4 games prior to that. And this game earlier in the season, they played at Goodison in the Premier League, finished 3-2 to Bournemouth, so there's plenty of goals there as well. I'm going to go for goals between Everton and Bournemouth. Everton v Bournemouth, over 2.5 goals at 4-5 will be my pick here.
Joe Dollar wants Everton. He loves Everton, Joe. He picks them every week. He's got a real thing, Joe has, for these big, clumsy, unattractive football teams like Stoke City and Wimbledon, Joe, back in the day, are the 2 teams for you. He likes Arsenal. He likes Everton. Horrible football, Joe. I've got another Saturday lunchtime game. My weekend's going to be made or broken early on Saturday. I've got another 12:15 kickoff, and this is Leyton Orient against Manchester City, where Orient are 18-1. The draw is 10-1, and Man City are 1-10. -1,000 Manchester City. And I just wanted to get back to fading the Man City defence again, Baz. Literally anybody could score against them. Any number of goals they like, frankly. 5 last weekend. They were a right old mess. And we got back to that system that we had of fading them. Bruges were all over them. God, Leicester, Brentford, take your pick. It's been a really profitable angle, this. It owes us nothing at all. And Leyton Orient are playing very, very well. They're punching well above their weight, actually, Orient. They're 6th in League One. They did lose 1-0 at the weekend to Stockport. But before that, they've been full of goals. They're averaging 2.13 goals per game in the last 8. And that includes scoring 6 at Exeter, who were in good form. And they scored 3 goals twice in that period as well. Now, the Orient team total, over half a goal, so Orient to score, is 6-5 plus 120. But I've stolen the value here, Barry, because if that's plus 120, both teams to score is 5-4 plus 125. And I find it very unlikely that Orient are going to win 1-0. So if you fancy Orient to score, you have to take the BTTS. So Leyton Orient v Man City, BTTS is 5-4 plus 125.
Nice. Not for me, that one. I looked at that one and totally avoided it. Wanted nothing to do with anything Man City related this week. I've gone next to Coventry v Ipswich, if you've got the odds there.
I've got the odds. I've also got this game, Barry. This is a team ride here. So Coventry 9-4 plus 225. The draw 9-4 plus 225. Ipswich Town are 5-4 plus 125. But see if we got the same pick.
I think we probably have. I'd be surprised if you haven't gone the same way as me. Ipswich don't have a good record in this competition for a start. Recent years, you have to go back 2007, the last time Ipswich got out of the 4th round of the FA Cup. They went out at this stage last year to Maidstone in one of the shocks of the round. And then Coventry, on the other hand, with a big surprise package last year, almost got to the final, a whisker away that offside decision from getting to the final, eventually losing to Man United on penalties and spoiling everyone's fun in that semi-final. Now, Coventry haven't been in the same sort of form this season as they were last season. Until recently, that is. Lampard's come in and really got them going again. Seen a bit of a resurgence. They were beaten at Leeds last week, and that was their first defeat in 7, and ended a 5-game winning streak. They've been in really, really good form prior to that. Ipswich are currently on a 4-game losing streak. They lost to Southampton last week, who, let's be honest, have demonstrated a very much championship standard still. Not much. I mean, so that demonstrates to me there's potential for Ipswich to lose to a championship team in this competition at this stage. And I always want to try and find an underdog somewhere in the FA Cup. And this is it. I think Coventry at 9-4 to beat Ipswich looks a really nice price. Ipswich, will they care about getting out of this, or will they be a bit more focused on trying to get themselves out of the mess at the bottom of the Premier League? I'll take Coventry as an underdog at 9-4.
I've made exactly the same pick, Baz, unsurprisingly. It jumped out an absolute mile. And for all the same reasons that you've just given out. I mean, taking Ipswich as a favourite at the minute doesn't look like a good idea to me. See, it lost to Southampton, and they've just completely fucked it recently. They've gone to shit. Big Fat Frank has got Cov doing a little bit. I've got a mate who's a Coventry fan. He's quite impressed with what they're doing. And you mentioned that little bit of cup pedigree that they've got from last year when they were very unlucky not to knock Man United over in that semi-final. Great price, 9-4 plus 225 for Coventry City at home to Ipswich Town. So team ride on Cov. Let's get involved in that. We will move on to our final couple of picks. I'm going to tell you about Edge Boost. SGPN has partnered up with Edge Boost, the Premier Visa debit card for bettors. An Edge Boost card allows you to avoid the hassle of having your card denied at the sportsbook, DFS site, sweepstakes site, racetrack or casino. You can earn up to $750 per month in cashback rewards with your Edge Boost card. And you know your money is safe as the card is FDIC insured. Sign up today, use the promo code SGPN. You'll get better cashback rewards and instant Tier 2 status. Edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. And finally, Underdog. The big game is coming this Sunday. Underdog's got you covered. New customers get a Travis Kelce free pick if they sign up before the game. Pick 'em entry I like is Jalen Hurts higher than half a touchdown. Use our code PLGP to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code PLGP. Next up, I will go to a 3 o'clock game on Saturday, which is 10 a.m. Eastern Time. It's Preston North End against Wycombe Wanderers. I picked all the good games here, Baz, this week. This is my last game, as it happens. Preston are 5-4, plus 125. The draw 16-5, plus 320. And Wycombe are 12-5, plus 240. I think 5-4 looks like a fair price for Preston here. You're getting a team in a higher division, and they're not in bad form. They've won 4 of the last 8. The home form is good. They've only lost twice in 15 games at Deepdale this year. And crucially, they've beaten the teams around them and they've beaten the teams beneath them. Like, they're very good against the teams that they're better than. Wycombe are another team, a little bit like Leeds, that they've got promotion on their mind. Punching above their weight again, I would say, Wycombe Wanderers. They're second in League Two, but just lately they've stopped scoring as many goals. It's just over, I think it's 1.13 or something in the last 8 games. You're getting you're getting clearly the better team from a higher division. 5-4 is a nice price for Preston. Plus 125. I'll take Preston here, Baz.
Yeah, I mean, I dodged all of these shitty games that you've gone to. I mean, I don't know. You're looking for something a bit different. I've got Premier League involvement in every one I've gone for.
People want, but this is why no one listens to these shows, by the way.
Yeah, I've gone for Southampton v Burnley is my next one. So if you can hit us with the odds for this.
Yeah, tell you what, I'm good at this, Baz. Southampton are 3-4 minus 133, 23-10 plus 230. The draw. Burnley are 17-4 plus 425.
So I picked this one for a specific reason. I knew what bet I wanted straight away. When I opened up the game and saw Southampton at 3-4, I've got to say I was a little bit taken back by that. 17-4 Burnley looked big. And it means you can get Burnley at evens on the double chance. It's not where I've went, but I think that looks decent money for me. For a team that aren't losing many games, aren't conceding many goals against the team bottom of the Premier League. And as I said before, there's not a lot of difference between the bottom of the Prem and the top end of the Championship. So I do think Burnley look a decent price, and definitely on the double chance I would be tempted. But the current Burnley form, it just leads me to... That's where I wanted to go. Well, as soon as I seen this game, it does fly in the face of the recent Southampton record because they've seen 7 in a row go over 2.5. But the vast majority of that is down to goals they're conceding. And you can't see Burnley putting up big numbers here because they don't score many goals against anyone either. But Burnley games under 2.5 in 8 of the last 10. They've just kept 9 clean sheets in a row now in the league. It's absolutely astonishing how they keep doing it. It's a little bit of a short price, but this one's got to be under 2.5 goals. Southampton v Burnley under 2.5 at 8-11.
Yeah, I looked at that. I'll have to the week because for the last 2 or 3 shows we've commented about Burnley having another 0-0 draw. They won 1-0 on Wednesday with their own goal. They beat Oxford 1-0 with an OG. So they still didn't score. They had to rely on the oppo to do it for them and got one. But yeah, again, I was immediately drawn to that, Baz. I've got a few underdogs to mention, a few honourable mentions.
I've still got
Burnley, one of them.
I've still got one more pick.
Yeah, well, more importantly, Barry, it's Battleship's time. So, your turn. What's happening?
Hold on, I've got to find the board, haven't I? You've caught us off guard. I can see what you're trying to do.
Can I ask, sorry, what sort of format are you employing here? What's your grid on? You got it on a spreadsheet or what?
Yes, yeah, I've got just a grid typed up.
Flash bastard.
And I just type in hit or miss, and then I turn it red when I've sunk them. So there's a lot of red because I've sunk 4 of them. It's all quite high tech, really. Right.
Straight.
I've never gone for column 1 yet, and today might be the day. Yes, let's do it. H1.
Miss that, Barry. Right.
I feel comfortable about that. Like.
There's a big gap up there. There's a big gap down there. I'm going to go up in this corner and go B9.
That's a miss.
Fucking hell, shit. Furious, Barry. Absolutely infuriated by you. Right, okay. You've got another game, have you? Go on then.
Yeah, I've got the Aston Villa v Spurs game next. You got the prices?
All right, you want the odds?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
I believe Villa are 4 to 5, or 5 to 6. Yeah, 4 to 5 minus. They've actually shortened up line movement report. Tottenham haven't been roundly humped tonight. Villa are in from 4 to 5 to, I'm going to have to get my odds converter up here, 1.72 is a decimal, Baz. 13 to 18, minus 138 is the answer. 3 to 1 Tottenham, and 3 to 1 the draw. Tottenham are Burlington Bertie, 100 to 30 plus 333. And he has pointed out Spurs are gash, as he points out every 20 minutes. Villa Tottenham, Baz.
Yeah, well, they are. And I handicapped this before tonight's 4-0 drubbing. So let's see where we go. I picked it because it looks like the closest matchup on the card in terms of 2 Premier League teams, similar sort of level. I'm sure Villa fans will be quite offended by that, given how Spurs are at the moment. I tell you what we haven't talked about is whether Angel'll still be there, because, I mean, he's got to be on a tightrope now, and I think one of the only things keeping him going through that recent run was the cup, the fact he was still in the cups. So I haven't been.
He's absolutely fine. They're not going to fire him.
You reckon? I mean, 2 teams that are hard to predict at the minute. Villa having just lost to Wolves last time out, and Spurs having won only 1 of their last 5, I think, in all competitions. Is that right? I don't know. That might be wrong. I'm going to read my own notes, I'll be honest. Yeah, they did.
It's 1 in 15, isn't it?
Sorry. I'm looking at the Villa form. Villa have won 1 of the last 5. The win against Celtic is their only win in the last 5 games. Spurs did pick up a good win at the weekend, didn't they? They had Brentford. They've been going well in the Cups until tonight, doing well enough to qualify in Europa. And obviously, as I said, come this far, getting past some decent sides along the way. But no consistency generally, and very hard to trust. That said, I did want a piece of Spurs here in this one. The concern is obviously how much tonight's game took out of them. Probably not a lot, because they didn't really try. So they'll probably be fresh as anything by Sunday. I thought Villa had 3 to 4. I mean, you've just said I think they're 8 to 11 now. I think it's just too short in the current form and what we're seeing from Villa lately. I think they're far too short at odds on. And taking Spurs as a dog has been the mantra recently for you. Obviously, it was a bad plan this midweek, but it has paid off a few times recently. I mean, tonight, let's say, soundly beaten. It was against Liverpool, who are currently the best side in the country. It was the first time Spurs have failed to score in 11. They have got goals in them generally. They'd scored 2 or more in 4 of their last 5 before tonight. Now, Villa have just conceded 2 to Wolves. They conceded 2 against Celtic. And as I say, I think the prices here just pushed me towards the Spurs side of it. So I like the Spurs team total, 6 to 4. I think it's a decent plus money price for Spurs to get a couple of goals. So yeah, the pick for me, Aston Villa v Spurs, is Spurs over 1.5 team total at 6 to 4.
I think give it on an even playing field, Baz, sort of equal rest, physically and emotionally. I would do the same as you, but it looks set up for a little bit of failure. Tottenham are going to be slightly downcast after tonight. They haven't got any bodies to bring back in. Bear in mind, Villa have got a whole shitload of fancy new transfers that they can play. Marcus Rashford going to get a game. Asensio come in. They brought the kid in last week who played at fullback against Wolves. They've had a free week. Like, we know they've struggled after Champions League weeks. Joe's pointing that out. This hasn't been a Champions League week. They've had the week off. So the week off, some shiny new toys for the fans to come and have a look at. I think it's different to Tottenham, emotionally and physically a little bit downbeat after getting humped tonight. So it does tilt it towards Villa a little bit. That's the only thing I would say that would change the system, Baz, from we do like sort of Tottenham going into these games. I've got a few honourable mentions, Baz, as underdogs. I think if you play all three of these, one of them's going to win and you'll come out in profit. The first one was Burnley. You were absolutely right. I wanted Burnley at 17-4 plus 425. It's a match, this. It's a dog shit Premier League team against one of the better teams in the Championship who absolutely know how to defend. There's no reason Southampton should go and score a couple of goals, which instantly puts Burnley in the game. So plus 425 on Southampton. The second one was Brighton. Brighton are at home to Chelsea. Again, I think the prices should really be equal. But Brighton are 2-1 underdogs at home. Chelsea are faves. I don't think there's much between them. Chelsea will make a few changes, play that Conference League team or whatever they choose to do. Brighton were too big. And the final one was Blackburn Rovers at home to Wolves. Again, Wolves, bigger fish to fry. Got a good result last week. They'll be looking to pull away from the bottom three. And Blackburn are all right. Blackburn not a bad side at home. And they're the same price as Burnley. They're plus 425, 17-4. So they were my three dogs, Bars. I think play three of them, we'll find a winner. Burnley, Brighton, and Blackburn. Yeah, middle one was Brighton.
Yeah, a little bit of relief there because I have my slow roller coming up, and I thought, oh no, he's gonna put the doubters on one of my picks here because my slow roller, we are at £23.43, and it's just a straight up double. Two Premier League teams coming against two lower division teams away from home, but it's Liverpool to beat Plymouth and Palace to beat Doncaster. Straight up double comes in £23.43. Will return £34.43. So we'll add a little tenner to the pot. And we'll get rolling. So yeah, a little bit different. We've just done the old over 1.5s and over. It's all been goals so far. So something a little bit different. Liverpool to win, Palace to win, and we'll keep on rolling from there.
I can't be asked to sing the song tonight, Baz, so I'm going to have a week off. I've got a bit of a sore throat from screaming and laughing at Kai Havertz last night. I've got an Aka, Baz, a three-teamer. Aston Villa, Newcastle United and Fulham. Newcastle are at Birmingham, Fulham are at Wigan. And we've just talked about Villa being able to knock Tottenham over. 23-10 plus 230 for Villa, Newcastle and Fulham. That, Barry, is my last action of this show. Do you have anything else you want to tell the people?
No, that is me. Done. Are we doing a Super Bowl little special?
I was just going to ask you the same thing. Yes, probably. Bob's got a game tomorrow night, so I need to head out about 5 o'clock. So between 4 and 5, you can knock something out, Baz, if you fancy. Yeah,
we'll get that sorted. I'll speak to you tomorrow. And yeah, people have a look out on YouTube for a little bit of silly nonsense and us trying to make some picks on American football for a change.
If you want your last hour at work, 4 to 5 tomorrow. I've got some winners as well, by the way. So it'd be well worth tuning in. I've got one in particular that I am hot patootie sweet on, Baz. So yeah, we'll get that on tomorrow. Right, thank you very much. Thanks if you joined us live in the chat. We very much appreciate it. Joe Dollar still wants 59 bets off us. You'll probably get about 6, Joe, is what you'll get. We'll leave the other 53 up to you. Good luck with all your picks this weekend if you're playing the FA Cup. And if we don't speak to you before then, enjoy the Super Bowl as well. Hopefully there's some winners in there for everybody. And until Sunday or Monday night or whenever, we will see you all down the road. Cheers.